What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Staying in the Woods. Today we're going to be restoring 2 axe heads, one with electrolysis, one with rust remover, and we're going to see what works better. Here's my 2 axe heads. Both of them were found metal detecting. The second one off this property I found. I love them old axe heads, man. They're so cool. That one's in good shape too. One of them's going to get rust remover. Oops. Let me throw the ball for the dog, y'all. One of them's gonna get rust remover. The other one's gonna go in electrolysis. And we're gonna see how nice we can get them. And we're gonna compare the 2 methods. All right, so this is the one that we're gonna be using the Evaporust rust remover, heavy duty rust remover for. It's very important that you keep it in a cool spot and we completely submerge it. So we're gonna go ahead and pour this in here. And this stuff's reusable as well. So we're going nice and gently pour this on top. Make sure that we're completely covered. There we go. And every few hours or so, I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. But we're going to let this sit in here. We're going to let this sit in here for probably a couple days, try to get all that rust off, and then every few probably every 10 or 12 hours, I'm gonna get with it with a brush. I'm gonna try to scrub all that rust off, and then we're gonna go ahead and stick this other one in electrolysis. All right, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and get axe head number 2 into the electrolysis machine. Check it out. All right, here's our electrolysis bucket. We got the manual battery charger, my electrolysis machine. Here's our second axe head. We're gonna go ahead and drop this down in here and let it sit for a little bit. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this down in here. Get it tied on with this wire. We're gonna go ahead and turn her on and let it eat. It's tied on. We're gonna take our positive terminal, hook down here. Take our negative terminal, hook right here. Make sure we got a good connection. All right, and we're gonna turn it on. And in a couple minutes, we're gonna start seeing bubbles, and we're just gonna let it sit for a while. All right, we got some bubbles starting to show up. We're gonna let this thing sit. It'll start bubbling like crazy here soon. Let's go scrub on our axe head that's in the rust remover. Let's go scrub that and see how that's turning out. I'm thinking it's gonna be pretty nice by now. All right, here's the axe head that's been in the rust remover. Look at how black that is. I mean, it is a completely different color. Check that out. We're gonna go ahead and take a scrubber to it and see how much of that rust we can get off. All right, I got my wire brush. Actually got a couple of them. We're gonna get it under some water and we're just gonna scrub away, see how much of that rust we can get off. So, just keep watching. There it is. Let's get to work. All right, so the rust remover did pretty good. Got a lot of the big stuff off of it. We're gonna stick it back in there and let it sit for another 12 or so hours, take it out and scrub it again. But I'm starting to like the look of that. Let's keep going. Here's a quick look at the axe head at about the 30-minute mark. It's doing pretty decent. About 30 minutes. Let's let it keep going. I think that's gonna turn out really nice, y'all. All right, it's about 2 hours later. Let's see how this is doing. It's getting there. Some of that rust is coming off. It's gonna need a little more time though. All right, y'all, let's check in on the electrolysis again. It's been a few hours, still bubbling good. Look at all that rust. Let's see how it's doing. Oh man, look at that. It's almost all gone. I'm saying a couple more hours and that thing's gonna be ready to go. We'll check back in a little bit. All right, y'all, it's been about 6 hours. I just turned that off. Let's see what we're working with here. I'm thinking it's gonna be pretty close. Oh yeah. Look at this. That's beautiful. So I'm really looking at this edge. This edge is gonna need some work, but we can put a new edge on it. There's still some rust on the inside, but a lot of this I'm thinking will just chip off. Oh yeah, look at that. So I'll take a wire brush to this and we're gonna see how clean we can get this thing. All right, y'all, so I took the axe head out of the electrolysis. Here's what we're working with. It's starting to dry up a little bit. It's getting this white color to it, but very little rust left on it. And all the rust that is on it is just chipping away. So we're gonna be taking this wire wheel to it. We're gonna see how much rust we can get off. So enjoying the time lapse. Alrighty, check this out. Still a little bit of rust on it. It's pretty pitted, but that is a lot better than it was. Pretty sweet. There's still some rust in the middle. I'm gonna take a brush and try to get all that out of there, but that is pretty nice. Now I am not liking that edge right there. We're gonna have to put a new edge on it, but that's fine. Other than that, that turned out pretty good with the electrolysis. Let's clean this thing up a little more. All right, y'all. We're gonna take a Dremel to it the rest of the way and we're gonna clamp it down. I just wanted to get a lot of that big stuff off. We're gonna clamp it down and we're gonna really get in there with the Dremel and try to get all of that rust out of there. Having some technical difficulties. Never mind, we're not using the Dremel. Back to the drill. You guys just hear that? That Dremel just woke up on the ground. Beautiful. We're gonna have to do some pretty serious work on that edge because of how pitted it is, and the whole axe is pitted, but it's gonna turn out nice. Y'all just stay tuned. Come on. What the heck? All right, we're just gonna turn that off. All right, you guys. It's pitted, but it's pretty. Check this out. Look at that shine. 98% of the rust, I'd say, about is gone. That edge is definitely gonna need some work. But other than that, the electrolysis axe is looking pretty good. There's some rust in that crack right there, but we can take care of that. Beautiful. All right, so we're gonna start sanding on this thing. We're gonna start out with 40 grit sandpaper. So this is gonna take a long time, so y'all just hang in there. I mean, y'all don't have to go through the pain because I'm gonna cut the video, but this is gonna take a while. All right, I realized pretty quick that I'm gonna need a grinder. So I went and borrowed one from my neighbor. And I didn't expect it to be brand new, but this thing is brand new. Hey, pup. So we're gonna get this thing and get at least a lot of that initial pitting out of it. And then we'll get at it with the sandpaper. How do I turn this thing on? There we go. All right, so there's a little more pitting I want to get out. It's still pretty pitted, but it's getting pretty close. I'm sure it's pretty hot right now. We'll use this piece of paper. There you go. So you see it's still pretty pitted. Oh. And I want to get a lot of that pitting out before I start getting at it with the sander. So we're gonna keep grinding on it, but this is working pretty good and it's starting to look really nice. So y'all stay tuned. It's starting to look good. All right, so we got pretty far on it with the grinder. Looking good. But it's starting to get dark outside, so let's go ahead and take us inside and get on it with the sander. But it's getting pretty good. I think it's gonna turn out really, really nice. Just make sure you stick around because you won't regret it. All right, so here's it in the daylight. All that rust is gone. I'm gonna get the sander and sand on it a little bit, try to get those grooves out of it. Some of that pitting is just gonna have to stay because of how bad a shape it was in, but I think it'll look cool being it's, you know, antique and all. So I'm gonna take a sander to it and get it all nice and smooth, and y'all will see it then. All right, you guys, I've already started to work on it a little bit using 40 grit sandpaper. This side I haven't worked on. This side I have. We're gonna start with the 40 grit, move to 80, move to 180, and then we're gonna hit 320, and we're gonna see how it turns out. Let's get to it. Here's my axe head after about 30 minutes with 40 grit. We're gonna switch over to 80 grit, hit it for another probably 30 minutes or so. It's starting to get there. Looking pretty good, so let's get to it. All right, here's the axe after probably about 10 or 15 minutes with 80 grit. It could use a little bit more, but we're gonna go ahead and move on to 180. See how that does. If I need to go back to the 80, I can do so, but I'm thinking that the 80 grit is gonna do pretty good. So let's try it out. All right, guys, so I took the 180 to it, Look at that shine. Spent probably about 30 minutes with the 180. It still needs a little bit of work, but it is 11 o'clock and I need to go to bed. So I'm going to see you guys in the morning and we're going to get back to it bright and early. All right, so this is where we're at. I don't have any higher grit sandpaper than 1200, but it's got a pretty decent little shine to it. But now I'm gonna start working on this edge. So I'm gonna take a file, I'm gonna file down that edge and we're gonna put a new edge on it. So I'll see y'all then. All right, so I took all the nicks out of the edge. There's still a few because of all those holes, but we're gonna go ahead and start getting an edge on this thing. All right, after a good bit of time with the whetstone, we got a solid edge on here. So now we're gonna start working on the handle. And this is gonna turn out pretty nice. All right, so here's the axe handle we're gonna be using. You can get these at a hardware store for like 20 bucks. And we're gonna be making sure this fits, and we're gonna carve it down so that this axe fits perfectly on that axe handle. So I'm gonna start working on that, and then we're gonna sand this and we're gonna stain this and make it look really good. So stay tuned. All right, you guys, I'm at work, but I was able to get the axe head on and it fits good. Now what we need to do is sand this thing down and we're gonna stain it. So stick around for that. It's turning out nice. All right, you guys, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with 100 grit, go to 180, then to 320, and then eventually work my way all the way up to 1200 grit sandpaper and make this thing look really, really nice. Y'all stay tuned. So I took a torch and I charred this axe handle real good after I sanded all the inconsistencies and all the lumps and everything out of them. So I took a torch and charred it. Now I'm gonna start sanding on it again. And the nice thing about charring this is it's gonna make the grain more visible and it makes the wood tougher, but it also helps me know where I've sanded and where I haven't, so I don't accidentally hit the same spot over and over and over again. But this is gonna turn out really nice. You got a good angle?
Yeah, I got it so that you can see. Before, you could only see your face.
All right, so here's the handle. Took the torch to it, and after probably 2 or 3 hours of sanding, this is the point where we're at. We're gonna be taking this old English furniture polish. All we're gonna be doing, putting it on a paper towel and rubbing it on it, and you guys are gonna see a significant difference. So I got gloves on, that way I don't have it all over my hands. Let's go ahead and open this stuff. You gotta be real careful with this stuff, because if you get it on your clothes or on blankets or pillows or whatever, it's never coming off. But we're gonna get a good decent amount on there, and we're just gonna let it soak in. Let me get this out of the way. I got some more paper towels, and we're gonna let it soak in because I don't want it to be splotchy. All right, it's all soaked in now. All right, and we're just gonna go ahead and rub it on the handle. Oh yeah. Check out that color. There's like a museum piece. All right, I'm gonna take my time here and try to get it up in these cracks as good as I can. Make sure we get a good coat on there. Absolutely beautiful. All right, now we're gonna take a dry paper towel. Go ahead and dry it up. Get any excess off. And you can reapply however much you need to get the desired look. But I'm liking that right there. And there you have it. I'm gonna work on this handle or this head a little bit more. We're gonna stick it on there and we're gonna cut some wood with it. Cool. Yeah, that turned out nice. Before we go on to something else, I just put the head on here. Check that out. That is unbelievable. I didn't expect it to turn out that good. That's the Electrolysis axe, and it is awesome. Heck yeah. And just for as a comparison point, here's the axe, my normal wood splitting axe that I got from the hardware store. It's the handle used to be nice and white. It's not, or like a wood color. It's not anymore. But this is the one that we restored. Just look at the difference between the two. At this old metal detecting find compared to something you're buying at the hardware store, that is unbelievable. Absolutely beautiful. All right. Here's the Electrolysis axe in its full glory, you guys. As you saw earlier. So now what we're going to do, it's got a good edge on it. We're going to take it back here to the chopping log. We're going to try to find some wood to chop up with it. And we're going to split some wood with this freaking thing. I'm beyond excited. I'm going to be the first one to split anything with this thing because I haven't touched it. I'm going to be the first one to split wood with this in probably over 100 years. So I am beyond excited. This thing turned out a lot better than I expected it to, and I am fired up. Also, this video is going to be done in 2 sections. The rust remover axe is taking a lot longer than I expected it to, just because of time constraints. I'm going to have to split this up into 2 episodes, which is fine, no big deal. But we're going to have my general consensus at the end of this video on what my opinions are, rust remover versus electrolysis, so stick around for that. But first, let's go chop some wood. Pretty hefty log right here, and it's actually too big to get on my actual splitting log, but I figure what better test than to try to get it split with this axe. I have not split anything with this axe at all yet. The last person to split a piece of wood with this axe was probably about 100 years ago. And this is a pretty hefty log. So, it's solid. So let's see how long this takes, if we can even do it. I'd say that thing right there works as it should. That is awesome. It's so cool and the edge is perfect still. It's so cool to split wood with this thing after putting all that time in to making it what it is. That's awesome. And this is a hefty log. I mean, it's obviously pretty dead, but it's not a piece of hickory, but it still demonstrates what I was hoping this would demonstrate, and it will absolutely split wood like a dream. That's awesome. All right, you guys. Let's talk about this project. So this project took probably about a week from start to finish. Part of that is because I used a hardware store handle instead of making my own handle. And then I worked at it while I was at work, while I was at home, a lot off camera. So this week, it went pretty quick for what it could. It could have taken a lot longer, but for the amount of time that it took, I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. A few things that could have been done better. If I would have used like an angle grinder or something instead of that big disc grinder, there wouldn't be, if I look really close on this, I can see a lot of little pits in it that I caused from using that big disc grinder. But other than that, I am very happy with this. If I would have used an angle grinder and spent a lot more time with sandpaper, I think I could make this thing shine like chrome. But since I didn't do that, this is the look that we got, and I'm still beyond happy with the look that it has. The handle turned out really nice for being a store-bought handle. And all it took was just sandpaper, a torch, and some old English furniture polish you can buy from the grocery store. So with all that being said, this thing turned out freaking nice. And it works great too. So here's my consensus with the electrolysis versus rust remover. Like I said, this is going to be a two-part video. We're still going to work on the rust remover axe head, and it's starting to get pretty decent. And I think it's going to use a lot of work. And I might have to break out the electrolysis just to get the rest of the rust out. But here's my outlook on things. If you're going to restore axe heads or restore anything that's really, really bad off rust-wise, you got to build yourself electrolysis bucket. And it's really easy to do. It costs, for the materials other than the battery charger, it's probably about $30 at most for your parts. And then the battery charger is the only thing that's difficult to get your hands on, because you need an old school manual battery charger. Can't be automatic, it has to be manual. One that just runs power constantly, where you can set the voltage and let it run. The newer versions, they know if they're not hooked to a battery and they won't work. So having the electrolysis machine makes this project 10 times easier than it would be if you were just trying to use rust remover. Rust remover is a fantastic tool, unless you're trying to remove a lot of corrosion. If you're trying to get rid of lots of corrosion, electrolysis is definitely going to be your friend. But it is still absolutely possible just to do with rust remover. The other nice thing about the rust remover is it's reusable. So if you're trying to clean, like for me, cleaning up stuff that I'm metal detecting, you know, if I've got a bunch of horseshoes that I dug that I want to clean up, I can use the rust remover, clean it up, and then reuse that rust remover again and again and again and again, and it'll last forever. The electrolysis, you got to switch the water out every single time, but it's cheap. I mean, all it is you have to get a box of laundry soda and go about a half a cup to 4 gallons of water in your bucket, and you got electrolysis, and it works fantastically. So I think that if you're going to be doing this often, it's definitely going to be worth doing the electrolysis machine, and there's a lot of great videos on YouTube that demonstrate on how to build them. But other than that, I've had a great time doing this project. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I'm gonna keep putting out informational stuff like this, so if you want to see more videos that end up with something beautiful like this, hit subscribe, like the video. I appreciate you guys watching. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye. I hope you guys enjoyed that video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. There's going to be a lot more videos coming out soon. Make sure you stay tuned. We got some really cool projects coming up. I appreciate every single one of you that watched this video. I hope you learned something. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.